welcome to Arlington Alive. I'm Rich Masabny. Tonight we have representatives from the Arlington Food Assistance Center. To my immediate left we have William Knull, Renee Bilodeau, and Marc Freedman. And let me ask you right out, as I was asking before we started the show, you are not part of the Arlington County government, is that right?
No, that's correct. We're a group of about 250 volunteers from Arlington.
Okay, how long has the center been in existence?
Well, we started about 5.5 to 6 years ago. Came out of a public-private group of people that were looking at the problems in Arlington County and identified food.
Mm-hmm. And Renee, what do you do with the organization?
I'm the vice president, and Bill, as you're saying, is the president, and we basically do a lot of the administrative behind-the-scenes stuff. A little bit of everything. Everybody, basically all the volunteers at AFAC take turns doing everything that needs to be done.
Okay, and Marc, you're a board member.
Well, one of my primary functions is to write grant proposals and some other pieces we need, stories that we write up for newspapers and such. As a board member, I contribute in the discussions and try and set policy or figure out ways that we can raise money and go
now,
about
Bill,
serving.
you said before that you get some money from Arlington County government?
Yes, they do give us some support. Mm-hmm.
Okay, but I assume you have to dig up the rest yourselves, right?
We do.
And
we do.
Is that a big job of getting money?
Very much so.
That's the job, I mean.
Yeah, I mean, that is the main job. And is it a tough job? I mean, I know we live in an affluent society here in Arlington. Do you get all your money just from Arlington?
I think...
Not entirely. No. We've had grants, for example, from the Northern Virginia Junior League of Northern Virginia. We've had some grants from downtown, the Philip Graham Fund. We've had a grant from the Washington Forest Foundation, grants from Bonner Foundation up in New Jersey.
Gannett.
We've had a grant from the Gannett outfit, USA Today, that sort of thing. We get a great amount of our contributions from churches and from individuals. And we send out newsletters occasionally and an annual appeal letter. That sort of thing.
Has the problem of needing food assistance become an increasing problem over the last few years with the influx of minority groups coming into the area and all? I mean, was this a problem 15 years ago as it is today?
Definitely not. It's growing all the time, and I'd partly answer that with respect to the Second Harvest organization, which, as you probably know, is a national organization for food collection. Our local membership is through the food bank over in Northeast D.C., the Capital Area Food Bank. And we get some of our food from them for free, and we buy some of it at a very low price per pound, 14 cents a pound. They fax us their inventory each week, and we fax our order back to them, and then they deliver it directly to our location. We deliver that food or distribute it at our own place and also through the Vets YMCA in South Arlington. We're currently trying to open a third distribution site down in the Columbia Pike area.
Did I understand you before? Did you say you have about 250 volunteers?
Yes, that's about right. We have groups from a wide number of churches, a dozen to 15 churches in the area, and they will provide us with teams. For example, we have a team that comes in on Wednesdays and packages food. We have another team that comes in on Friday evening and bags up the food for distribution the following day. On Saturday morning, a third team comes in and distributes the food to people that have been referred to us from the Arlington County agencies.
Yeah. Well, it seems to me, Renee and Marc, that from what Bill is saying, that you seem very organized and the food is coming in from all locations, all kinds of places. But I suspect you're here tonight because you're not really meeting the quota.
Right. We do have a lot of volunteers with us, but we're trying to expand. We have more referrals that are coming into us. We have more sources of money, more sources of food coming in, and to organize that in some kind of fashion that we can benefit from, it takes a lot more manpower, a lot more hours. And so we do need a lot more volunteers to help to continue the AFAC Center and to have it run smoothly.
I mean, there's as much work to be done as there are people to do it. We can always expand in terms of people to serve. We were discussing before we came on the air about things that we know we need to get done that we just don't have enough time to get done.
Like what?
Well, we're working on getting some more publicity out. We need to work on a system to get newsletters and grant letters and things that solicit contributions from people out. I mean, if we really had a good system and a lot of people to run it, we'd be able to reach more people and to get our message out.
See, you want to say something, Bill?
Yes, we currently only have 3 part-time employees. We don't have any full-time employees. One of our difficulties is getting people that are available during the working day to man our office and to take care of the referrals and to answer questions of people that want to volunteer, to find out the kinds of things that we might need them to do and find out when they might be available to do it, things of that sort. So as Renee says, it takes a lot of time to do all these things, and we need volunteers to help us with those things. I want to tell a little story,
Please.
if I may, be very quick. We have a friend, Napoleon, can't call his last name at the second, the manager of the Williamsburg Deli. Napoleon puts a little jar on the counter in his deli, and his patrons put money in it during the month for AFAC. And once a month, he goes to the wholesale grocery with the money from that jar and finds out what's on sale and buys as much food as he can and brings a truckload over to our place once a month.
Gosh.
And I asked him one time why in the world he did that. And he says, well, Bill, at one point, I was on the other end of this thing. And he says, once you've been hungry, you remember.
Isn't that something? I was just thinking, I mean, if you got another, say, 25 stores, grocery stores in Arlington to do that, that would be most helpful, wouldn't it?
It all adds up. Definitely all adds up.
We get a lot of contributions too. We should mention in kind from local groceries like the Safeways and the Giants, and Fresh Fields has been donating a lot of bread to us. So a lot of our needs are met through that method as well as just straight money donations. But I mean, it doesn't mean
But you need people.
we need people. We need everything you could imagine to run the system. I mean, we've got a great foundation laid. The question is building on that and being able to expand it as we know we need to.
There are a lot of different kinds of volunteers that we need. We have volunteers that come in for a scheduled number of hours each week. They either work maybe from 1 to 3 Monday and Wednesday, or they'll do our pre-bagging for us Wednesday evenings from 7 to 9. But then we also have a lot of other jobs that we need to have done that are administrative jobs where you don't actually work with the clients that come in Saturday mornings for the distribution. And those are publicity positions. Basically, we need people to write our newsletter, to enter a lot of information to our database. We need a volunteer coordinator. We have a lot of projects that come up. We had a booth at the Arlington County Fair last year. We had the Boy Scouts of Northern Virginia. They had a big food drive for us. And we need people to take on little projects here and there that don't have a single set position, but to take on just the county fair, or just another food drive, or to set up just a food drive at one of the local malls. We have a tea coming up. We need somebody to go out and try to
handle that.
Exactly. So we need people who can do a lot of different. They have a lot of different skills. We need people who can possibly do work from home by trying to get.
I know, and I can see your frustration when you're talking, Renee. Before I came to do this show tonight, I had some people over my house, and I asked them, do you know about food assistance or anything? And the first person said to me, is there a food problem in Arlington?
Yeah.
Because we're such a rich community.
Right.
There's a certain image problem. I mean, Arlington is,
You know what I mean?
Absolutely.
I said, well, I know. I mean, they need affordable housing here, and there's all kinds of problems we have here, like in any other community.
Have them come down and see us about 9:30 Saturday morning, and we can disavow them of that impression.
Hey, give me that location where you are again.
Yes, we're at 2900 North Washington Boulevard in Clarendon, right at 10th Street.
Okay.
For folks that remember, it's the old Falls Camera Shop location,
Okay.
opposite what used to be Kirby Dodge.
Sure, yeah, no, I know where you are. We have a couple of numbers over here that I'd like to give to the people right off. I would assume there are people watching right now that may be doing nothing in the afternoon or anything of any real meaning, maybe watching soap operas. And I would imagine you'd be looking for these kind of people who
sure.
might be willing to man those phones for you. Be a shame if those phones are ringing and nobody's answering them, right?
Absolutely. I think you'll recall Jimmy Hunter, head of the county board, recently made a comment
Yes.
to the folks in Arlington about the need for all of us to pull together and volunteer.
You did on this show, not this particular show, one here at Channel 33.
Right. Well, if anyone is interested in following up on Jim Hunter's suggestion, we'd be glad to hear from him.
Let me just give the number here, and then we're going to go to a break in a moment and have a little film here. But the number of the volunteers, if you call, is at 525-3450, 525-3450, and they can give you information. Now, what's that other number for referrals, the 358-5590? What is that about?
Well,
referral number.
In order to be part of the food assistance program, you need to be referred by the department, the Arlington County Department of Human Services. And that number will put you in touch with the Arlington County. All of our clients that we serve are brought to us through the county or other social service agencies and referred to us as someone who needs assistance.
Okay.
So it's
We don't
rather
have the
structured.
people for screening.
I understand. I understand. Let's go to that film right now. We'll be back in a minute. Okay, you can talk now. We're showing the film, and you just can explain where we are right now.
Go ahead,
Well,
Mark.
this is the AFAC Center. Those are some shelves we have for various goods. Right behind those shelves are the walk-in freezers and coolers we have, which store all our perishable goods. These are various things that we have stored that are available for people to go through as they come to the line. They can choose these things as they want, in addition to the bags that we've already set out that contain all the basic items we expect them to pick up. That's the freezer section.
The original picture that showed the bags of groceries there with numbers 1 and 2 on different bags. A small family of 3 people or less will get 2 bags of staple groceries, canned goods and dry cereals and things of that sort, and 1 bag with fresh and frozen food. So small family will get 3 bags. A large family will get 2 of each of those number 1 and number 2 bags, plus a bag of frozen and refrigerated foods.
What you see there are choice items. We also have numerous choice items that people are allowed to choose after they go through and pick up their bags. The choice items may be fresh strawberries if they're in season, or birthday cakes that one of the supermarkets may have left over. And we don't have enough to give to everybody, so it's basically first come, first serve, and they can choose 1 choice item.
We get a lot of our frozen goods in bulk. For instance, vegetables like cut beans or peas would come in a big box that are just frozen. And one of the tasks that we have to do every week is to break those up into single servings or bags of single portions.
This blackboard here is trying to show how we look after nutrition to the best of our ability. Depends, of course, on what we have available. But we do try to give a balance of food.
This is the waiting area where people come in and we hand them out a number for them to be served in. So this is the first processing point, and then they go through that line and then move down to pick up their bags and the other food.
Now, would this be a weekend day, you think?
Saturday morning.
This would be Saturday morning.
We only distribute Saturday mornings at this location. We also have a distribution at the Arlington Vets Y on Thursday evenings.
One of our problems here, of course, is the fact that a great many of these folks are Hispanic. So we have to have interpreters available.
Oh, right.
We had one volunteer who had a young child, and she didn't want to leave home, but she was perfectly willing to volunteer to work on the phone.
Right.
So she recruits and schedules our interpreters, and that's a great help to us.
I see. Okay, that kind of gives you an idea. How does your assistance center here stack up with the other jurisdictions? I mean, are they having trouble too, as far as you may know? I don't know if you know or not, but what's Falls Church or Alexandria like, or Fairfax, as far as getting help or maybe getting full-time personnel? Do any of them have any?
It's beyond Falls Church and Fairfax. It's nationwide. We get the circulars from Second Harvest, and we get of course, we're in close touch with the capital area.
But I mean, do they have any full-time personnel? Or,
oh, yes,
they
unfortunately they do.
And there's no chance that you could do this with the funds coming in? If there was somebody watching out here now who wants to make a donation, a contribution of $100,000?
We desperately need that kind of help.
We can fit that in, I think. We can find room for that.
Very definitely.
After the hurricane, a lot of the food resources from throughout the country went down to feed those people.
Homestead, yeah.
So, correct. So at one point, for a few months, we were very low. The Capital Area Community Food Bank, where we get a lot of our deliveries from, was very low also. So at that point, we started to reach out and go to the community, and we had a few food drives ourselves. The churches pulled together, and they helped us along also, and get some food for us.
A couple of very interesting things. I went to a budget meeting at the county a few months ago, and I met a young man from the Virginia Coalition of Police, COPS they call it. He asked me, he said, we get a lot of food, and we get it through a distributor down in Norfolk, and we need to know who to give it to. Can you use any? Oh, wow. Can we use any? Well, just before Thanksgiving, they delivered 1,144 pounds of turkeys to us, and just before Christmas, about 650 pounds of chicken. And this,
That's great.
plus the one of the Lions clubs, I believe it was with Northwest Lions, Arlington Club, didn't quite sell all the oranges that they wanted to, and they delivered us 20 cases of oranges. This really helped our Christmas distribution a great deal. This was wonderful.
Yeah, now, I mean, I can see then if you could multiply that by 10 or 100 or whatever and get the word out through these public relations people possibly. There have got to be people here who are working during the day or just retired and they've been PR executives. What a great way to maybe spend 5 hours a week perhaps doing some kind of professional PR work for them.
That's exactly it.
Saying that, Mark?
Absolutely. I mean, that was basically how I decided to get involved. It was just a question of knowing that I could do some of this work and having a lot of time on my hands. I just decided that this was something that was worthwhile. And I was fishing around for something to do, so I thought this was the kind of thing I wanted to do. And the time is it varies. I mean, you don't even have to think of it as a weekly commitment. I would think of it more in terms of a monthly activity where...
But as long as somebody says, look, I only even have 5 hours a month, as long as you know that you got 5 hours, you can schedule that.
Or not even that. We'll give them a project. They can do 1 hour here, 1 hour there, a half hour another time. As long as they get it done.
Do it at home or at work or wherever.
So it's not like they have to schedule a 5-hour block of time or schedule any time with us. We'll just give them a project and they can do it whenever they have their spare time.
And there are people out there, like you said, with all these different talents. I started out driving submarines. I'm not very well suited to this sort of thing. But there are people out there that can do all the kinds of things that we need to have done.
We have all ages. We have people from all races. It's a great group of people. It's a great way to meet friends also. It's a very social atmosphere.
Yeah, and needless to say, doing meaningful work. I mean, something that makes a difference in your community. I was thinking, what about the Korean people out there? We have a lot of Koreans in this area and Vietnamese. Do you have anybody now, for example, Vietnamese or Korean that are part of your volunteer group?
Very interesting question. No, we don't. They seem to take care of their own. It's quite striking. We occasionally do get some, but not very many.
Yeah, that's interesting. They do, don't they?
Yes.
And not many yet come through as clients either.
So the overwhelming majority of the minority of the group is Hispanics then?
Caucasians, blacks, and Hispanics are predominantly the group that we serve.
Yeah.
We might also add that the way the system is set up, people are here, or they're clients of us with the idea that we provide some of their needs. We don't try and meet all their needs. And the idea is that these are people, through the referral function, are sent to us who need some help, and a lot of times it's temporary help. They may be between jobs, or they've just had a child and can't get out, or they have some reason why their life is disrupted and need this extra help. In the vast majority of cases, people are on our system and then they graduate. They no longer come into us. And the numbers we serve are rotating numbers. I mean, it may be 400 people a week, but it's not always the same 400 people. And so it's a fluctuating system and a lot of flexibility, a lot of people who move in and out of it. But it's interesting to note that we're here to provide a certain gap filling, and then we expect people to move on, and we hope that they can take care of themselves after a certain amount of time.
Now let me understand something for sure. Now you're giving them bags of food, people who come in, but you don't serve meals there.
No,
as such,
and that's
right?
a distinction. Some people, there are some places that would like to donate food, but it's already prepared, and we can only accept food that is on the shelf or unprepared.
Although we do recommend places they can bring it to in Arlington if they do have prepared food.
The ASPAN program, the Arlington Street People's Network, can use food
They'll
like
take
that.
it. The Sullivan
There are a number of
House.
organizations that can. Yeah, very definitely.
But the street people, for example, and others that want to go for that dinner meal, I know they don't go to you, but there are other places here in Arlington, I assume, that take care of that.
ASPAN has 3 locations.
But as you said, Mark, these might be people who are in between jobs, or they just need a little extra help with maybe with some extra some extra food they can't afford to
Exactly,
buy
exactly.
with their food stamps, perhaps.
That's
Is that
exactly
right?
it.
Right. So-
Many even have a job, and we've even seen cases where they had 2 jobs in the family and still couldn't make ends meet
'Cause
because of the
Yeah.
size of the family.
Yeah.
Exactly. There are many kids that we serve.
If you have, to,
Many
if you have to
children.
run a car, it's very expensive, but
Course.
if you have to have the car to get to the job,
That's
You
right.
have to run the
That's
car.
right. That's right.
Right. Many of them, most people that we do sign up are there for 4 weeks. Many of them, at that time, we basically reevaluate. We go back to the social worker, and if they say, okay, we'd like to put them on for another 4 weeks, we'll put them onto our card for another 4 weeks. They're welcome to come back during that time. But most of them, the majority, are there for only the 4 weeks they originally signed up for.
Again, can you mention 2 or 3 projects that you'd really like someone to work on? If there are people out there watching now, and why don't we see if we can get, they don't have to necessarily call now, they can call later. I'm going to give you a number. I mean, I can give you our number here, but then I'm going to give you again, write it down, the volunteer number. But the number here at the station, if you want to call right this minute or later on, as sometimes they do, it's 524-2388, 524-2388. That's the channel 33 here. You can ask for me, Rich Masabny, and I'll make sure it's gotten over to the food center here, Arlington Food Assistance Center. Or you can call directly for volunteers to these people right here at 525-3450, right? 525-3450, and ask for help. But I'd like you now, if you wouldn't mind, and all of you jump in, name 3 or 4 projects that you see down the road that you'd like to have help specifically on, and maybe somebody out there say, hey, I can do that.
well, Renee here's our computer guru. Let her tell about it.
There are a number of things. There are many, many
I
things.
know.
To
just
name 3.
highlight 3 or
Okay.
4
Well,
things.
first of all, we do need a corresponding secretary right now. We are without
So
one.
you need a secretary.
That is correct. This corresponding secretary could just do work from home, pick up some material from the office once a week, send
Acknowledge
everything from home.
contributions.
Sure.
things of that
It doesn't take that
Sure, I
much
can
time, but
see-
it's something that has to be done.
Sure.
Besides that, we do need somebody to teach the board members computer skills. We have a nice computer system in the office.
Yeah, phone now. I'm going to stop you. Do you mind?
Sure.
Remember
Go
where
ahead.
you are. Hello? This is Arlington Alive. How long are clients a part of the program? Okay. Yeah, thank you. Thank you.
Basically about 4 weeks. As when they're put on the system, the first block of time will be 4 weeks, and then they can be added on again if they need it. After that. But we basically deal in 4-week blocks of time.
So this correspondence secretary, for example,
Yes.
might be, like you say, for 4 weeks or so on a project, and
No, the corresponding secretary is
Continue.
a permanent.
okay.
As a
Okay.
member of our board.
Oh, okay.
Correct.
Okay. All right. I
Yes.
understand. I just wanted to make that clear, at least for myself.
Okay.
Now, go ahead. I don't know, you can give me a time check how much time we have, because I might ask you to keep on going and listening. We have about 4 or 5 minutes.
Okay.
So, but the thing is, besides the secretary, what else do you
Okay,
think
we
you
do need
for
a volunteer
project?
coordinator, and this volunteer coordinator, it is a very key position. It's a position where we have a lot of people coming in, calling in. Hopefully we'll get some call-ins from this show here. They're going to call in, and we need somebody to scan them, basically to find out what they want to do, what their background is, and to try to slide them into a particular slot.
When they're available.
Right.
Exactly.
Right.
You know,
When they're available,
basically,
what
you
they
know,
can
if
Sure.
we have
Somebody to
projects.
sort out all these calls and
Exactly.
put people in slots where they need it.
And to do a little bit more than that, though, but to also, as we're finding out, we can't just ask a lot of volunteers to just do this stuff, because they don't do it. A lot of them need a little more prompting. So we need somebody
tell them
who
what to
will
do
follow
specifically.
through with, right, to specifically tell them what to do and to follow through and to give them a call and tell them when the next board meeting is and to make sure they show up. And we need somebody to basically decide what the other positions are that we have available, whether it's a coordinator for some of the food drives we have coming up. Okay, this person has to find out what basically has to be done and to describe this position to the volunteer and make sure the volunteer follows up on that.
Let me interrupt you
Yeah.
for
Go
a
ahead.
second.
Yeah, please.
This young lady broached the subject in a board meeting last fall about putting in a booth in the Arlington County Fair. I've been involved with that in past years, and I told her that it's going to be a very difficult thing to get enough people to do this. So she said, we'll do it. And they did it. They did a stupendous job. They got tremendous help from the businesses in Arlington. How many businesses? About 40 of them, wasn't it?
Gee.
We had over 100 gifts.
Well, what we did was
And we have over 80,
Fantastic.
almost over 80 businesses that contributed from Arlington
we,
alone.
we ran a raffle, and these businesses contributed the prizes for the raffle,
Yeah.
and the raffle generated about $1,100. We also had a silent auction where we had specific gifts or items that people could leave bids on, and we got about $120, I think, or so out of that.
About 500, actually.
Oh, sorry.
Yeah.
That was one item that generated $120. So it was a lot of success. We got a lot of names for volunteers. We got a lot of money out of it. We got a lot of exposure, and we'll be back next year and hope to do a big business.
So you know there are resources out there.
It's
Oh,
a
yeah,
it's a
it's just gotta be
creativity.
done.
It's
It's
just tapping
it's
them,
also
getting those people and the volunteer coordinator to say, you do this, you go there, you call that
And
person.
to-
It's
you do this.
it's a
Exactly.
creativity outlet. I mean, you
Right.
sit here and you think, well, how can we make something happen? And it's a chance for you just to sit there, and it's a blue sky thing. And you can do anything you want.
You just gotta take a project and just run with it.
You know, this is really a chance for somebody, I would think, to have their own product, come up with something, be creative, say, hey,
Exactly.
look, I can do this, or I know
Basically.
somebody in this organization I used to work at, and they're always looking to do something at Christmas time, or why not do something in all year and spread it out, and that person could head that up. Maybe they work for IBM, or work for Mobile
Exactly.
Oil, or work for
The
just
only
anybody,
requirements
American
are
Management System.
We just got a brand new volunteer the other day from Nations Bank, a lady that's an executive with them, and she's helping to evaluate our whole organization. And we got an
Terrific,
engineer to help her and a young lawyer who works with the post office downtown, and the three of them are going to look at our whole organization and recommend improvements.
Yeah,
But
so-
the enthusiasm of these young people is the greatest thing I see. When Renee brought this county fair thing up, I said, well, good, you run it. I went to Florida. And I was down there when
exactly
the whole
what he
thing
did.
happened. I came back and it was all over.
Yeah.
And
But
that's just great.
Yeah, there's so much to be done, and it's almost like managing your own little business. If you want to write a newsletter, okay, write it. We're not going to stop you. We're not going to direct you. If you want to just take it on yourself, it's all yours. If you want to organize some kind of food drive, do it. Come back and tell us the results. If you want to do any other kind of fundraiser, great, go ahead and do it. We need people who can take their own initiative and just run with it.
Self-motivated.
That's right. I can think of the number of people who work in organizations. We all work with them that maybe have not a senior position in a company, but they're very creative, and they say to themselves sometimes, gee, you know, if I had that top job, I could do it better than my boss.
Right.
Here's a
Here.
good chance to
Hey.
try something.
You have to-
publicly
You have to be even more creative here, because generally you're trying to do it on an extremely limited budget.
Oh, I realize
And that makes
Right.
it even more challenging. You know,
Yeah, that's
anybody
right.
can go out and run
That's
something
right.
with money.
You plop $50,000 somebody hand and say,
Yeah.
get a couple of newsletters out.
Beautiful, right.
Yeah.
There are all kinds of funny ways of getting help. The Northern Virginia Community Foundation gave us an old Sharp copier that wouldn't work very well. I wrote a letter to Sharp. They sent us a brand new one about this high and about that wide.
Okay, it can be done. We're going to have to close out now. I just want to remind everybody we've been talking to the people from the Arlington Food Assistance Center, and there's a phone number here, 525-3450. You've been listening to these folks. They're dying for help, and this is a good chance, a good way to do it. I want to thank very much William Knull for being with us, Renee Bilodeau, and Marc Freedman. Thank you very much from the Arlington Food Assistance Center. This is Rich Masabny for Arlington Alive. Go out and help them. Thank you.